Finally, season 29 has ended and now it is the new beginning of season 30. And in this video, I'll show you top 10 best Pokemon for solo ranking. Along with that, I will also show you their best build, battle item, and boost emblem with some tips and tricks. So in the number 10, we have the Fire Boy Charizard. As we all know that in the patch note version 19.26, Charizard got a big buff to its physical defense and special defense, making it much more tougher in fights. Along with that, they also buff its basic attack, which deals more damage to enemies, and Flamethrower also got a nice buff, making it a stronger move. Because of these changes, Charizard has made a stronger comeback in the meta, becoming a very powerful Pokemon. That's why most of the time, you will see Charizard getting banned on the draft pick mode, as the players see how dominant it is on the battlefield. So if you are a type of player who likes to play all-rounder role, then you should try out Charizard before it gets nerfed, as Charizard can dominate the battlefield once he unlocks his Unite move. That's right, in his Unite move, Charizard can easily do 1 vs 3 or 1 vs 4. About the best moveset for Charizard, well, I personally prefer Flamethrower and Flare Bleach, and this is the build that I use on Charizard, and this is the boost emblem. Now let's move on to the next one. In the number 9, we have the Muscle Boy Budgehole. Budgehole is considered as one of the best Pokemon for the top lane, because he has got the durability to sustain in a team fight for a quite long time, and he has lots of stun, which doesn't even give chance to move unless you have any kind of CC immune effect. Basically, once Budgehole grabs a Pokemon, that Pokemon is totally dead, especially if the Pokemon is squishy. And not to forget, by using the Unite move, Budgehole can easily target the backline Pokemon, which is creating problem for your teammates. That's why in the professional tournament, Budgehole is one of the most picked Pokemon for the top lane. So if you like to play in the top lane for most of the time, then you should consider playing Budgehole. Anyways, about the best moveset for Budgehole, it's definitely Smackdown and Superpower, and this is the build that I use on Budgehole, and this is the boost emblem. Now without wasting any time, let's move on to the next one. In the number 8, we have the Kampu Boy Urshifu. Urshifu has also received a buff in recent patch note version 19.210 on the moveset like Surging Strike, Liquidation, Wicked Blow, and Throat Chop. Even though Urshifu was already in the meta, with this buff he has become much more stronger and better. That's why you will see lots of players using Urshifu in this season. And if you also wanna use Urshifu, then you should know these few things about him. Urshifu is very strong in the early game, especially with the moveset like Surging Strike and Liquidation. So whenever you use Urshifu, I would highly recommend you to go on the central area, so that you can reach level 5 as soon as possible. And once you reach level 5, make sure to play very aggressively to take down the enemies, because in the early game, his damage and durability is very high as compared to other Pokemon. So basically, early game is the best time for you to dominate wherever lane you go. About the best moveset for Urshifu, well, I personally prefer Surging Strike and Liquidation, and this is the build and the boost emblem that I use on Urshifu. Now let's move on to the next one. In the number 7, we have the White Kitty Absol. Absol is also considered as king of one shot, and there's a reason why. Absol is truly a beast, a monster in terms of dealing critical damage. The critical rate damage of Absol is so high that it can deal one shot damage to any kind of Pokemon instantly, especially with the moveset like Night Slash and Psycho Cut. His damage can even penetrate through the defense of any defender and supporter. Not only that, the mobility of the Absol is also quite high. Because of all these things, Absol can easily kill the damage dealer who hides in the backline of the opposing team in just blink of an eye. Now the question is whether it is hard to master Absol or not. Well, to be honest, Absol isn't really that hard. You just need few matches to master him, and for the laning phase, you should definitely go on the central area. Since he is a speedster, he needs quite a bit of farm. And once you reach level 7, you can destroy the enemies. About the best moveset for Absol, you can either use Night Slash with Psycho Cut or Sucker Punch with Pursuit, but I personally prefer Night Slash and Psycho Cut, and this is the build for Night Slash and Psycho Cut, and that's the build for Sucker Punch and Pursuit, and this is the boost emblem. Now let's move on to the next one. In the number 6, we have the Street Fighter Blaziken. Blaziken is a Pokemon which I also loves to play. He is one of those Pokemon which has high damage dealing capabilities, durabilities, and pretty good mobilities. In a team fight, Blaziken becomes one of the most brutal damage dealer, because most of the moveset of Blaziken deals damage in area, which helps him to kill multiple targets simultaneously. That is why the reason he is also being picked in the professional tournaments. Now if you are thinking of playing Blaziken, then I would like to warn you, because if you are a new player in Pokemon Unite, then then it will be slightly difficult for you to play Blaziken, as Blaziken is not a beginner friendly Pokemon. You need a good practice in order to utilize all his moveset properly. So before you play Blaziken, make sure to master his combo. About the laning phase, you can either go on the top lane or the central area, and this is the build and the boost emblem set that I use on Blaziken. Now let's move on to the next one. In the number 5 we have the ghost Pokemon Gengar. He is also known as the one-shot killing machine of Pokemon Unite. Gengar is one of those Pokemon which can kill the enemies in just few milliseconds, especially with the moveset like Dream Eater and Shadow Ball. His damage is on the extreme level. He has the potential to obliterate the entire enemy. Gengar can be truly a killing machine if you utilize his moveset properly. The damage of the Gengar is so deadly that it can even shred apart the defense of defender and supporter. Not only that, by using the Unite move, Gengar becomes invisible and can easily reach out to the damage dealer of the opposing team to assassinate them one by one from the back. This thing is really helpful, especially in the final stretch, because he can easily take down the Pokemon, which is creating problem for your teammates. Now the question is whether it is hard to master Gengar or not. Well, the difficulty level of the Gengar is on the medium level. To master Gengar isn't really that hard. You just need a good amount of matches with him and then you are good to go. About the laning phase for the Gengar, I would highly recommend you to go on the central area, because as a speedster, Gengar definitely need farm, and before reaching level 5, he is super duper weak, so always make sure to focus on leveling up first. Anyways, this is the build and the boost emblem set that I use on Gengar. Now let's move on to the next one. In the number 4 we have the Latios. Right now Latios is one of the most broken attacker Pokemon in Pokemon Unite. That's why in the Draft mode, most of the players bans him, and there's no wonder why. His damage is totally insane right now. Once Latios level up and stack properly, he can literally one-shot any attacker or speedster, and his damage can even easily penetrate through the defense of any defender and supporter, which is really scary, you know, especially in the late game. So if you like to play attacker type Pokemon, you should definitely try out Latios as well. It is the correct time for you, because there is a possibility that developer might nerf him sooner or later. So before that happen, use Latios to rank up faster. But remember that Latios is kinda weak in the early game, so make sure to level up faster and stack his passive Eon energy as much as you can. Once your Eon energy reach 100 or above, you can literally obliterate the enemies. About the best moveset for Latios, well, it's Dragon Pulse and Luster Purge, and this is the build and the boost emblem set that I use on Latios. Now let's move on to the next one. In the number 3 we have Mimikyu. Most of the all-rounder fights face to face and has lots of stun, but Mimikyu is kinda different from them. That's why he has managed to come at this position. You see, Mimikyu is totally like an assassin type Pokemon, especially with the moveset like Flare Up and Shadow Sneak. With these two movesets, Mimikyu can target any specific enemy and eliminate them. He can literally one-shot any squishy Pokemon with Flare Up. Along with that, as an all-rounder, Mimikyu has pretty good durability, which helps him to sustain for quite a long time in team fights. And not to forget, the cooldown of Flare Up is pretty short. Along with that, the cooldown of Shadow Sneaks gets reset each time you kill the enemy which has Shadow Sneak mark. That's why you can easily spam his moveset during the team fight, and it isn't really that hard to master Mimikyu, so you should definitely try Mimikyu in solo ranking. About the best moveset for Mimikyu, definitely it's Flare Up and Shadow Sneak, and this is the build and the boost emblem set that I use on Mimikyu. Now let's move on to the top 2. In the number 2 we have the Green Kitty Leafeon. Leafeon is considered as one of the most strongest speedster, especially in the early game, because he unlocked one of his main moveset in just level 4, and the power spike of Leafeon get activated in level 6. That is why the reason he can dominate the early game very effectively. As a speedster by nature, Leafeon has a very high burst damage dealing capabilities. Along with that, the movement speed of Leafeon is super duper high, which helps him to easily reach out to the backline of the opposing team and take them down. Then he can easily escape as well, and he can easily kill those Pokemon which has low mobility and no blink abilities. Not only that, because of the unique ability of Leafeon, he can secure or steal objective very efficiently. And about the difficulty level of Leafeon, well, it's on medium level. You just need few matches with him, and then definitely you will learn how does his moveset works. For the best moveset for the Leapion, right now it's Razor Leap and Aerial S, and this is the build and the boost emblem set that I use on Leapion. Now finally, it's time to move on to the top 1, and in the top 1 we have none other than the Zorark, which is considered as the king of Speedster. He is the speed, the lightning of Pokemon Unite. I don't think I have to tell you anything about Zorark because most of the players know how strong and deadly he is. With Zorark, there are some players who even do 1 versus 5 clutch. That's right, Zorark has the potential to carry the entire game all by himself. Because of his speeds and dash abilities, he can definitely reach out to the backline of the opposing team and easily can escape as well. And most of the time in solo ranking, players doesn't pick specific counter for Zorark. That's where he gets the plus point. This is why if you master Zorark, there's a very high chance you can rank up faster in solo ranking. Because with the Unite move, he can also easily secure the objectives. But remember this, Zorark is one of the most hardest Pokemon to master. That's why most of the player doesn't use him. Anyways, about the best moveset for Zorark, I personally prepare Feint Attack and Shadow Claw. And this is the build and the boost emblem set that I use on Zorark. So that was it guys. If this video was helpful for you, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. See you guys in the next video.